What's up guys, it's Aaronitmar. Today I want to talk about third-party fighters, my thoughts on them overall, and how they may be included in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But before we begin, today's video is sponsored by App Bounty. App Bounty is a mobile app for iOS and Android devices that lets you earn free gift cards by simply playing and using other apps. Doing so will earn you points, which you can then easily exchange for a huge variety of different gift cards. Just head over to the Play and Earn section of App Bounty, take a look at any app that catches your eye, spend time in that app, and then you'll be rewarded with points. Use the app every day to maximize how many points you can earn. Maybe you want to save up for Smash Ultimate DLC with some eShop cards. Or maybe you've had your eye on a hit, critically acclaimed animated film. You can easily earn an iTunes card to purchase that work of art and watch it anytime, anywhere. Check out the app by following the link in the description, and be sure to use code Aaronitmar for 50 free credits straight off the bat. Every time a Smash game is announced, the fighter reveals are the most monumental events to happen. Anywhere you go online, it seems like you'll see some mention of the new fighters right after their announcement. Now with first parties, it's a big deal. Ridley, King K. Rool, these characters are all highly requested. But they're also Nintendo owned. So the bigger surprise is actually how long it took them to get into the game, rather than the fact that they're actually in. It mostly just feels like a no-brainer for these characters to be added, so the biggest hype people feel is that they are finally in. But to me, the highest amount of praise comes when a third-party fighter is announced. The sheer reaction of, "What?" whenever a third-party character is shown is simply unmatched. The reactions to Sonic, Cloud, Bayonetta, Simon, people just lose their minds when third parties are announced. So today I'm coming at you with some general third-party fighter thoughts, and then who I think could be a third-party fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. First, I think that we're going to be getting far more third-party fighters as DLC fighters in Smash Ultimate. I think the number that will be in the base roster is going to be tiny compared to the DLC fighters. Now, I know DLC doesn't get started on the game until it's complete. Sakurai is very insistent and firm on that. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo and other gaming companies can't come to agreements for characters during the game's development. They just wouldn't start work on the fighters until after the game is out. I think one thing that people seem to forget is that with licensing characters for Smash, it's not just a couple of guys in a meeting shaking hands going, "Yeah bro, you can use our character, no worries." These are actual legal properties, so contracts, NDAs, all things like that need to be signed and agreed to by both parties. And these things take time to work out before even the first pixel is started on the character. On top of this, I expect Nintendo actually pays for the licensing of the characters in one way or another. And this could be potentially handled a couple of ways. First, there's the third-party fighters that are introduced to the series in the base game. Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Simon, these are all playable on day one. And these third-party fighters who are in the base roster probably simply receive a one-time licensing fee in order to use the character. And then there are the fighters who are added as DLC. Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta are the current examples of this. Now this is all just me speculating, but a reasonable guess for these third-party DLC fighter deals is that the company that owns the character probably has received a cut of the profits for the DLC sales. If we look at the prices for the DLC, all of the third-party reps cost $1 more than the first-party Nintendo characters. This could indicate that $1 of every sale could be going to the company that owns these characters. 50,000 DLC downloads could mean 50 grand in the company's pocket simply for licensing their character. So this sort of deal makes the most sense for third-party companies to work with. Smash is a huge series, and Ultimate is shaping up to be the biggest and best of all the games. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the best-selling Smash game of all time. So it would hugely benefit third-party companies to have their character in Smash as DLC, featuring them in the biggest crossover fighter and making a little cash from it at the same time. They would probably make more money getting a cut of the DLC sales than if Nintendo just paid them a lump sum right at the start. But now let's move on to who should be in the game. First, this one is pretty much always one of the highest chosen no-brainer choices, so briefly let's talk about Ken, who would presumably be an Echo Fighter of Ryu. I won't harp on this long, but I think Ken would probably fit into that first group of third parties I mentioned. Ryu was introduced in a previous game, so it makes sense to add Ken along with Ryu in the jump to Ultimate. Not only that, but I think it would be a little sketchy to sell an Echo Fighter as DLC. You can argue that Roy and Lucas were close to Echoes in Smash 4, but I think the novelty of them being returning fighters would give them a pass. Staying in the fighting game realm, I think Heihachi would be a fantastic rep. Heihachi is pretty much the Ryu of Tekken. He is the face, the mascot. He's been in a ton of crossover games, even some that also have Ryu in it. He also had a Mii Fighter costume added to the game in Smash 4, so we know that Smash and Tekken have a good relationship already, and that he is presumably the rep that Tekken would choose if given the option. It would be really cool to have another fighting game rep alongside Street Fighter. And then of course I think we should get Sora, and if it makes sense for anyone to make their character a DLC fighter in order to receive a cut of the profits, Disney and Square Enix would fit that bill. But I've already made a whole video on my thoughts on Sora and Smash, so I won't bother you with all of those details. If you want, go ahead and click this card and check out that video. And while we're on the topic of Square Enix characters, I think that Geno also has a very good chance of being in. I think he would be more of a base roster character because those seem to be characters that are more tied to Nintendo. I mean, Mega Man is pretty much always on Nintendo consoles. Sonic and Mario have a very friendly rivalry. Geno literally was from a Mario game. It just happened to be developed by Square. So I think that he deserves a spot, and it would definitely, I think, be as a base roster character rather than a DLC character. I could be wrong because I could see it going either way, but I'm definitely leaning more towards base roster character. And now, Steve from Minecraft. Man, I just don't know. Like, I don't think I'd really be upset if they added him to the game, but I just can't see myself jumping for joy that he gets added in either. It's just one that I'm indifferent on. And then finally, Banjo Kazooie. I just love these characters so much. I love the games they come from, the humor, the personality, and of course, the potential moveset we could get based on the huge host of moves and the transformations that they have in their games. Now the interesting thing is that both Banjo and Minecraft are now owned by Microsoft. They purchased Rare in 2002, and they bought Mojang in 2014. If someone came up to me and said, we could get Banjo in Smash, but only if we also got Steve in Smash. That's the only way Microsoft has said it's an all or nothing deal, and you, for some reason, random YouTuber, are the deciding factor, I would agree to that in a heartbeat. I don't have to play as Steve, he can just be a character I ignore on the character select screen, but I would play as Banjo all the time, so I would do it immediately. There are a few other third parties that I think would be cool to see, but I wouldn't really be too sad if they didn't make it in. Shadow, whether he's an Echo Fighter or an original character, would be cool, but I'm not really too attached to him. You know, he's not the hill that I'm choosing to die on, and so to speak, you know, so I'm not exactly too crazy about him, but it would be cool to see him. Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, Shantae, all of these are characters that I think would be very, very cool in the game, but they just don't reach a higher level in terms of my personal want list to warrant me, you know, really wanting them in the game. They would be cool, I would love them to be added because I just love to see more characters in Smash, but I'm not exactly, you know, super attached to them. But that is pretty much where my thoughts end on third-party fighters. I'm really personally convinced that third-party fighters are going to dominate the DLC fighter options, and so that's why we aren't seeing a ton of them in the base roster. But I would love to know what you guys think about what I said in this video down in the comments below. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm crazy? You don't think that what I'm saying has any kind of credibility? I would love to know any and all thoughts that you have about third-party fighters down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe because I talk about Smash Ultimate every single week. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.